we've been working with color for so long, and don't worry, we're going to get back to those paintings one way or another, but this is where we would shift gears a little bit in school. What we would do generally is do some color cloning, where you'd get little Home Depot swatches or Lowe's swatches and just using the primary colors, try to exactly clone those colors. And then we'd be using net and building techniques to make little three-dimensional shapes out of them, and then everybody would take theirs and find their complementary color partners and put it together into a class sculpture. And the idea behind it would be transitioning from color theory into 3D building and community. Unfortunately, there's not really a way to throw that together within a few weeks with this distance learning experience. So what we're going to try to do instead is build a city together anyway, which is what we'd be doing at the end of the year. And instead of each individual class building one, we're going to build one as the whole 7th grade. We'll be building them remotely, and hopefully we can bring those buildings, whatever we make, back together when we do come together and really make that community that was once remote become a unified thing again. We're going to vote on what the theme will be, and I've seen every theme over the years that you can imagine, from cities that are back in time to underwater cities, cities in the clouds, just all kinds of ideas. So we'll come up with an idea for this year's, and we'll be building these little buildings. Mostly out of cardboard and recycled materials, since we're usually pretty much out of a lot of things at this time of the year. We kind of have to work with stuff that's just around. So that translates well to being at home. But the first thing we're going to need to do is to make a 2-point perspective plan for your buildings. And that's what we're going to explore today. When architects make a building, the first thing they do is they propose what the building will look like with a 2-point perspective drawing before they build the models. So we're going to go through that process. If you think back to 1-point perspective in 6th grade, don't worry, 2-point is actually quite a bit easier. And if my video here isn't as helpful as you would like it to be, there's no shortage of drawing buildings in 2-point perspective videos on YouTube. So let's get started. So you all remember back to, hopefully, to 6th grade when we worked with 1-point perspective. Well, the good news is that 2-point perspective, I think, is a little bit easier. It's the idea, and you can remember, if you need a refresher, look in the 6th grade tab, and there's a video on 1-point perspective. But if you remember, in 1-point, we're looking straight onto an object, and we're connecting the sides to it. Parallel to this is here, and parallel to this is here. So our view of this is that we're looking straight on. With 1-point perspective, we're shifting our perspective from looking straight at it to moving around and looking at the corner of an object. And this is a classic 7th grade art project. There are those art projects that we could consider to be antiquated, and a good example would be making the ashtray in ceramics class. We don't need to do them anymore. And then there are some that are progressive, like thinking about digital animation and so forth. And then there are some that are just classic art projects. In the 7th grade city street line is a classic art project. All we need to do is start with the corner of our building. I'm going to draw kind of dark, but I'd like you to do it lightly. We need a ruler, we need a pencil, and we need an eraser. Now on either side of that, we're going to make vanishing points, because instead of just 1 point, there are 2 points, hence 2-point perspective. So we're going to attach however tall we want this building to be It's going to go back to this side and the bottom to this side. And then we do the same thing here. Back to this side and down to this side. At this point, we determine how wide we want our building to be. And that's going to be parallel to this original corner line. And then coming over here into this corner line. We can erase our guidelines. These were only to establish what this angle was. Remember, the vanishing point is the imaginary spot on the horizon where all of our lines converge. Going under the assumption that as things are further away from us, they look like they're getting smaller. They're not actually getting smaller, but they just look like they are. It's why people, when you're in a plane where things look very, very tiny. With geometric shapes, it's the same thing. They very gradually are looking like they're going away from us. We know that this is not true intellectually, but it's what we see. So it's a great exercise in reconciling what your brain knows with what your eyes see. And even if your drawing is really wonky at first, you're still accomplishing that process of playing around with perception. Now, from here on out, it follows a very simple formula. If we wanted to do a street, same thing, going off into the distance. The one over here, same thing, going off into the distance. And this simple formula goes as follows. Anything on the left side of our corner line is going to go to the left vanishing point. Anything on the right side goes to the right, and the other lines are straight up and down parallel. So let's say we'll make another building. We make a corner line, we go down to the vanishing point on the left, go down to the vanishing point on the right, straight up and down parallel, straight up and down parallel. Yeah. Okay, so if we're making a door on the side, we do straight up and down parallel, and then the top of it, we're going to want to go across like this, like, oh, that's what a door does. But because it's on this left side, it's going to be going down to this vanishing point. Okay, if I wanted to make a mailbox, I start with the corner line, and I'm just going to make a box. To here, to here, to here, straight up and down, and then back to the vanishing point. This is going to be to here, and then I can curve this over. The bottom part's the same thing. So all of your lines are either going to the right vanishing point, to the left vanishing point, straight up and down parallel. And so anything you do on the left of your corner line goes to the left. Anything on the right goes to the right. And then the straight up and down lines are all parallel to one another. Windows, same thing. Go to this side and go to this side. Big storefront window here, down to the vanishing point. Now, even anything that we make inside of here, say we were making a checkered floor on the bottom, all of the tiles would go to this left vanishing point on one side, and then on the other side to here. When you play around with this, if something looks wrong, it probably is. Go with your gut instinct and say, should this be straight up and down parallel, going to the left, or going to the right? Like if I put a little table outside, I start with the corner line, I go to the left vanishing point, I go to the right vanishing point. The top of it is going to go here, and the other top of it is going to go here.
You draw stuff that really looks like stuff.
Well, that's what perspective is all about. It's not even really art making. It's just a tool for creating the illusion of space. And two-point perspective is generally used for exteriors and plans for buildings.
So that's inside of a place, and then that's going outside to the mailbox.
That's exactly right.
And that's a checkered floor to go outside.
And you could also, if you have like bricks on if it's a brick building, those bricks on this side are going to be going to the vanishing point, getting smaller down, and then you want the mortar to be in between like that. And then on this side, they'd be going down to the other way. Oops. Hopefully by the time you see this video, we would have, because I'm making this in week 6 of learning for, I believe we're going to be doing this week 8, I'm not sure yet. But hopefully by then we'll have an idea for our remote town, what the theme is going to be.
The table outside, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the mailbox back there.
And then little umbrella.
Oh, I know how sometimes there's like brick pathways by buildings.
Mm-hmm. In fact, if we wanted to show what like an alleyway would look like, we start with the corner line of another building, go to the left, go to the right, see how long we want it to be, and then the bottom of it would go to this left side vanishing point too. So this would be like a little walkway or a street or an alleyway. In fact, if we wanted to make it a street, we could bring it all the way out here and all the way out here.
Mommy, so there's another, so that's the building getting taller.
Mm-hmm. It's not really getting taller, it's just looking like it's getting taller as it gets closer to us. Same thing with signs right now.
No, it's getting taller as it gets far away, it looks like.
And if we draw a sign, we just keep our letters within the confines of the sign, so they will slowly get smaller as well.
What does that say?
It's just WMS. These are areas that need our help right now. Small businesses, post offices. But either way, whatever you draw is going to be a design for the building you're going to make. And we should have a theme. We're going to all collect ideas in the coming week. And hopefully when you're watching this video, that would have already happened. So just work off doing this in pencil this week. Remember, this is going to be our horizon line, so we can erase all these guidelines going down. And we can put as many details as we want. Even an awning. Say we did an awning. We do the corner here. That goes to there. That goes to here. And on this side, it would go out here. An awning or a marquee. And even this one would go back to there. So anything kind of coming down like that. Or even a balcony, that could be.
Oh, you know how sometimes you need to put like a chain there, because you know how those get chained up so that they don't fall down?
Mm-hmm. Good point, Tavish. Put another window under here.
I'll get that.
Thanks, Hal.
It's a little orange pencil.
If you want to do a roof on here, here's a quick way of finding the middle part of something going away from you. You go corner to corner. Actually, let's do it over on this one. You go corner to corner. And then that's your middle part, so we just go straight up. And there. Could do it over here too. Straight up and down. And then that's going to connect to there. That's going to connect to there. And this is going to connect back there. So these ones are going outside the formula a little bit. What are you doing?
There's silly pictures of me on our computer, and it's very hilarious.
So for the most part, your line should be straight up and down parallel. Going to the left vanishing point or going to the right. Erase any of your guidelines, and you're done.